Welcome to the Sales Influence Podcast, where we talk about finding the why in how people buy. I'm your host, Victor Antonio. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for lending me your ears. Today, I want to talk about triggers for change. Why people or why companies will make a change and buy from you, buy your product or your service. So these are some triggers that you should be aware of that might be happening in the market. Now, there's a lot of software products out there, a lot of apps out there that will allow you to find some of these triggers, but let's go ahead and look through some of these triggers. I want you to create a list. If you're driving right now, create a mental list. If you're in front of a desk or something, get a piece of paper, get a pen, let's write these down. The first trigger for change, in other words, somebody might be interested in buying your product, is maybe the company has a new change in leadership. In other words, they have a new vice president of sales, a new chief technical officer, somebody who's coming in to the organization, and it also could be from within the organization, but somebody who's assuming the mantle of leadership and says, you know what, we need to be better at doing X, Y, Z. Let's look for a new product or a new service to acquire. Number two, it could be a change of ownership. Now, let me define this one. This one's kind of a tricky one. Within a company, let's say a product manager is in charge of a team. Well, that product manager may have been tasked to do something else, and a new product manager has been brought in, or maybe that responsibility has been shifted to another department. So that is a change of ownership. In other words, the person in charge of that product or that department might say, hey, you know what? It's time for a change. So that might be another trigger for change. Number three, maybe there's a change in their financial situation. For example, maybe a company gets funding, maybe a second round of funding, and all of a sudden they have extra money to buy your product or your service. Now, it does work the other way, that if they've lost money, they probably won't make a buying decision. But let's think positive. Acquisition, again, money's coming in, they're pouring money in, they want to invest. This is the right time because they have more money. So a good change in a financial situation is always a great trigger. Number four, sometimes within a company, support for a product has faded, has waned. People are saying, you know what, we need to do something different. We can no longer tolerate having this product. So the support for that product is pretty much ended, and they're looking for a new product or service. The next one, number five, the vendor maybe goes out of business. Maybe they're buying from somebody, and guess what? They're out of business. They're no longer doing business, or the company has been sold. That could be another variation. But the original company that you dealt with is no longer there. So again, the client thinks, you know what? Now is the time to go find something new or implement a new strategy. Number six, sometimes the existing product or service doesn't have a feature that the client really wants. Maybe there's something in the actual software or product that the customer now has a new need for. For example, I just had to buy a new camera because there's a certain feature, in this case, it was an audio feature that I really wanted, and my existing camera didn't offer it. So that prompted me to go online and find a new camera for my studio. So again, it didn't have a certain feature. I needed it because I now had it implemented. Therefore, I'm looking for something new. How about number seven, a GUI, a good GUI? Sometimes the graphic user interface, GUI, is too difficult, and you're realizing that people are not using it or not leveraging the tool because the GUI is just too complicated. It's too cumbersome to work with. So maybe the customer is looking for something simple, something that's going to generate less errors and be very user-friendly for the customer. So keep in mind, because again, if the GUI is cumbersome, maybe people are not going to use it. So I've just given you 7 ideas for triggers in the market that would trigger people for change, i.e. want your product or service. The first one was change in leadership. Number 2, change in ownership. Maybe change in financial situation, influx of money, they got some funding. Number 4, support for the product has died internally, they're looking for something new. Number 5, the vendor is out of business or they're no longer supporting the product. I should add that. Sometimes companies will announce that they will no longer support a product and do any upgrades or revisions. Number 6, they need a new feature, something that's not in the current product they want. Next, the GUI interface. Again, make it simple. One of the biggest challenges we have today in order to satisfy our customers is to make it easy for them to buy from us. And when it comes to our product, we have to make it easy for them to use our product or service. And when it isn't, guess what? They'll look for somebody else. So these are 7 triggers for change. My question to you is, what are some of the triggers you look for in your business that would highlight, hey, now's the time to approach or reapproach a client and really talk to them about what we offer as a product or service? So again, think about your triggers for change, because that will trigger your sales success. And that is it for the Sales Influence Podcast. Leave me some feedback at iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Spotify, Pandora. I think we're almost everywhere. You can find it. So leave me some feedback. Love to hear from you. And when you get a chance, check out the Sales Velocity Academy. We're adding some great courses. I'm super excited about the stuff we're doing. Also, we got some webinars coming every month. So go online, go to victorantonio.com. You'll find the information, but we're trying to really do more personal webinars every month to get you engaged to help you sell more. Lastly, this is Victor Antonio, always reminding you, selling ain't hard when you know how. Take care.
Hi, I'm Victor Antonio. I'm an author, sales trainer, and keynote speaker. I'm often asked, what makes a great speaker? Is it someone who delivers real content that the audience can use? Is it someone who engages the audience so they're part of the learning experience? Or is it someone who can motivate an audience to push them beyond their comfort zone and discover new abilities? The answer is yes. But the most important thing to remember is that I'm not there to look good. I'm there to make my client look good. Simply put, it's never about me, and it's always about them.